So it's late November, and I'm just now getting around to splitting my first batch of firewood for this winter. I'm sure my dad's looking down on this operation, just shaking his head. But more about that a little bit later. What I found last year that I could use this tractor to make this operation a lot easier and no lifting on my part. So as you can see, I load the logs into the bucket of the tractor, then I pull that tractor up even with the splitter, and then I'm able to just kind of work the logs off the bucket onto the splitter without having to do much lifting. Before, I'd roll logs down onto the splitter's tire and roll about 5 or 6 down there and then lift them up. But as you can see, you split those in half and then you'd have to throw the other half down on the ground again and lift it again, and that became not as much fun as what we see here, where I can just kind of roll them onto that bucket, pull them over the tractor and work them off the tractor. Had back surgery like 5 or 6 years ago, had some discs fused, so this is a much better way than what it was in the past. Now getting back to Dad, he would have this place full of wood by now, and you can see by this picture, this is the last year that he was alive. A couple months before he died, we were working on his wood. We kind of posed with the splitting mauls, but the last 3 years of his life we did, I borrowed a log splitter. I didn't have this one yet, and we did split that pile with a splitter. But up to that point, he was 81 when he died. Up to that point, he split all this stuff by hand, and he had over 4 years of wood ranked here when he passed that we had to use. Problem with his wood was it was too long for any wood stove that my son or I had. So I used this technique, built a jig out of wood pallets, and you can see I put them in there and ended up, they sized them by that jig and then cut off the ends, and we restacked it, and that's how we used up his wood over the years. There's still a little pile left that we just didn't get to because we just used other wood, but I did cut that up and now it's ready to burn. As you can see by me splitting this wood, I split it pretty small because I have a gasification boiler, and they take really small pieces of wood so that they don't bridge, so they don't hang up in the firebox. So that can be a challenge sometime with some of this white ash that's standing dead. The stuff gets a little punky, and the splitter doesn't want to, it just seems like it loses its grain. The splitter doesn't want to split it real well, but we work our way through that and get this wood all split up as small as we can, and we'll be ready for this winter. And I have a lot more logs to cut up, as you can see, and hopefully we have enough firewood to survive this winter. In the next video, we're going to stack this firewood, and that can be kind of a boring job. It's kind of mindless. You don't have to do much thinking. So I have a special way that I deal with that particular type of job. So stay tuned to see how a child of the 70s stacks firewood. If you subscribe to the channel, you're going to see a lot more than firewood. I'm building a log cabin style workshop by myself, so I have videos on that on the channel. We have a sawmill. We cut all our own lumber. So subscribe to the channel and follow along with the Sugar Run Homestead and see what we get into next.
grave somewhere